I'd like to call to order this regular meeting of the Raton City Commission. Can we have roll call, please, Mike Lang?
Mayor Sagata.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Schuster.
Present.
Commissioner Chatterley.
Present.
Commissioner Chavez.
Present.
Commissioner Giacomo.
Present.
Would you all please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Thank you everyone for coming out tonight. Our next meeting will be Tuesday, September 24th, 6 p.m. here in the chambers. We have a notice of potential quorum. Quorum of city commissioners may attend a meeting with New Mexico Main Street during their annual site visit on October 10th from 11 to 1 p.m. That's here at City Hall in the commission chambers. This meeting will include a review of progress with strategies and projects, as well as future goals and needs and how New Mexico Main Street can assist with identifying resources and technical assistance and such. Okay, at this time, we would take comments from the general public, and I believe Mr. Chimino would like to address this. Go first.
Good evening, and the reason I'm here tonight, I'm representing Phil Ford, Raton. We have a concern at our dealership in concern of traffic. Rio Grande, east of 2nd Street, the two-way street there has become, as you know, a real hazard. We park vehicles, and we're not excluded, but we park our vehicles in the front of the dealership for service. But that's just part of it. Employees, not employees, but customers will park there because it's parallel to the curb. It's easy to go in and out. And as I think a lot of you realize, if you've come up Rio Grande and you're facing west and you get to that stop sign, if you look south, it's a real hazard. And invariably, if it's a high-rise vehicle, a pickup, and if there's one, it's bad enough. If there's two, you cannot see. There's been at least 2 or 3 accidents in the last calendar year there. Barbara Castillo was involved in the last one, and it was a serious accident, but there were no injuries. A lot of damage to vehicles. Doc Martinez got broadsided, T-bone there about 3 years ago, and luckily didn't get killed. So my recommendation on behalf of Phil Ford of Raton is a consideration for making Rio Grande a one-way turnoff to go strictly eastbound to 1st Street. And we understand there's no, I don't think there's any one-way streets in Raton, but it is definitely a safety, it's a safety concern. It would eliminate any traffic coming up that street. And as you drive by on that street, you notice a lot of times if our vehicles that we work on are parked along that avenue, it's a pretty narrow pathway for cars to go 2 different directions as it is. So our thought was that if we were able to all park the same direction, if we made it a one-way, it would sure make it a lot safer for everybody and avoid this, what could be a real potential serious accident if something else happened. So that's what I'm here for this evening. And I realize you can't give me an answer this evening, and I also know that, of course, 2nd Street is a part of I-25 extension, and I'm sure the state would have to be involved as well. But that's our concern. I appreciate you listening to me. Any questions?
You said one-way eastbound, right?
Eastbound. Yeah, we don't want to affect the westbound traffic of the people that are, of course, want to turn left at that intersection to go westbound, you know, over where the Elks Lodge is. We don't want to affect that. Strictly the concern, and you know, you also have the Greyhound bus people come through there. You know how wide that bus is, and they usually take the Zellers turn a lot of times, but sometimes they'll take that turn. And I just think overall it would make it much safer for everybody. I think it makes a lot of sense. So I hope you'll give it good consideration.
Yeah, Frank, we've had conversations with other citizens about that intersection, so we've looked into it. It's something we definitely have talked about, so I think we can maybe work something out hopefully.
Yeah, I would sure hope so. If it could be done, that would be great.
Mr. Barry, you have any comments for that?
Mayor and Commission, I think it's a pretty good suggestion.
Yeah.
I think, we have talked about a couple of things, and I think given where we're at, I would probably endorse that suggestion. I think it probably would solve that issue.
Yeah.
And so I think signage and pavement markings would be required. I think that's something we could look at. We could advise DOT, that's what we're looking at, but I think DOT would kind of defer to the commission's decision, and that's what I would say is maybe set this up for action of the commission. But I think that we would evaluate this a little closer, bring it to a future city commission meeting. But right offhand, I think it's a good suggestion.
All right, sounds good,
I
bud.
think the only resident that would be affected and wouldn't hurt is Terry San Roman goes into that alley, his residence, but he would be going that direction
Right.
when he goes in there anyway, so. But offhand, I think that's the only resident
It's
that.
one of the better ideas I've heard so far, so.
Well, once in a while we come up with. One more thing, just a thought, and I know it's been brought up before probably, but if there can be anything done with the facade of the J.C. Penney's building, which now has a complete panel that you can walk into. If you want to walk in for the night, you can go right in. And the second panel's about ready to do the same thing. It's over half gone, so. There was some artwork done on the old studios building next door to it that gave it a nice little appearance, and tourists comment about that building a lot when they come in.
Yeah,
I know we all hear it.
It's high on our list.
I figured it was, so anyway, just to.
We were all kidding aside when the wreck happened at the bakery. Scott's question was it the Penny's building? But it wasn't, so it's high on our list.
Okay. All right.
All righty.
Thank you for your.
Thank you for your time.
Anyone else wish to address the commission at this time? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to the business items. Item 6A, approval of the August 22nd, 2019 special commission meeting minutes.
I read the minutes and I found no corrections or additions. I couldn't find any. I make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes as stated. Any further discussion? All in favor, vote by the sign of aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Item B, deliberate and act on acceptance of DFA fiscal year 20 final budget approval for the city of Raton, Raton Waterworks, and Raton Public Service. Mr. Barry.
Mayor and Commission, in your package, you have a letter from the Director of Local Government Division, and it states, it's addressed to the mayor, and it states that the final budget for your local government entity for the fiscal year 1920 is approved by your governing body, has been examined and reviewed, and then the letter goes on to state that Local Government Division has approved of the budget as submitted as well. And our city clerk has worked directly with local government division as far as the submission of this, and it's a lengthy process where you would submit a preliminary budget and get approval on that, and then a final budget, and it really takes some work and it takes months to do. But I would get the comments from our city clerk on this item, just as far as what this action by local government division means to the commission.
Sure. Mayor and Commission, you will see 3 letters in your packet, one for the City of Raton, one for Raton Waterworks, and a separate one for Raton Public Service. It does indicate that by statute we are required to, it says budgets approved by local government division, goodness, are required to be made part of the minutes of your governing body according to section 6-6-5. Thus, the item on the agenda this evening. Also, you will see that it is noted that at this point, now that the budget's been approved, as you know, any adjustments, increases, decreases, we must do that through the budget adjustment process. So they've highlighted that at the bottom section. There is no other notes. There were no corrections required in the final budget, so it was submitted and approved as approved by this commission.
Any questions for Raton?
Kudos to all three of them, very good job.
Absolutely. So I would guess we need to entertain a motion to accept these letters into the minutes.
I will move to approve DFA FY 2020 final budget approval of City of Raton, Raton Waterworks, and Raton Public Service.
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second to approve the final budget approvals for the City of Raton, for Raton Waterworks and RPS. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, vote by the sign of aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item C, deliberate and act on event form for 25th Annual PBW Kiwanis Walk Run for Domestic Violence Awareness. Mr. Berry?
Mayor and Commissioner, in your packet, you have the staff permit review form that has been approved by staff for this event. You can see that there are routes of 1, 3, and 5 miles for the event through town. No street closures are involved in this. It's an event that has taken place over the years. Pretty straightforward. Staff has approved this and recommend your approval.
I also wanted to mention, it's not attached with this application, but we did receive a certificate of insurance from Hub International, who carries the insurance for the professional businesswoman. So that was received.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the event form for 25th annual PBW Kiwanis Walk Run for Domestic Violence Awareness.
I'll second.
A motion and a second to approve the event form for the walk or run for domestic violence awareness. Is there any further discussion?
I would just like to say this is a great walk, and I do it almost every year, and I will invite everybody in the listening audience to attend and walk or support someone who is.
Absolutely. 25 years it's been going on, so
I have a lot of t-shirts.
I'll bet you do. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, vote by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item D, deliberate and act on memorandum of understanding between the State of New Mexico Energy, Minerals, and Natural Resources Department and the City of Raton. Mr. Bray.
Mayor and Commission, this memorandum of understanding comes to us from the New Mexico Energy, Minerals, and Natural Resources Department, specific to their radioactive waste consultation task force. This is provides for training for our local emergency response crews that may respond to an incident along the route for the waste isolation pilot plant, and it's under the WIP Transportation Safety Program. It's an agreement that we have had in place in previous years during really the life of the WIP route, so that's been for several decades. We have not had a reason to respond to an incident prior to this agreement, but we would do the training and be prepared for it. The agreement allows for funding through Department of Energy, through Energy and Minerals, up to, as it says on page 1, up to $7,000, which is allocated under this MOA for training and of the City of Raton Fire Department. So Mayor would recommend approval. I'm trying to think if we missed anything. I certainly can answer any questions, but it would be preparedness here locally, and it describes in here the related expenses, which more specifically would include all equipment purchases, proposed travel, and training related expenses.
Any questions for Mr. Berry?
I'll make a motion to approve the memorandum of understanding between the State of New Mexico Energy, Minerals, and Natural Resources Department and the City of Raton.
I'll second.
A motion and a second to approve the MOA between the Energy, Minerals, and Natural Resources Department and the City of Raton. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, vote by the sign of aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item E, deliberate and act on Resolution 2019-51, authorizing and approving submission of a completed application for financial assistance and project approval to the New Mexico Finance Authority for a planning grant. Mr. Berry.
Mayor and Commission, I have asked Jason Phillips, Public Works Director, to work on this item on behalf of the City of Raton. And Jason, if you could come forward and give us the information on this resolution.
Mayor and Commission, with the resolution, you should also receive by now a copy of the application that we're submitting. Under their guidelines, it is a update to a comprehensive plan with LEDA components. Our comprehensive plan was last completed in 2003, and the estimated cost of this plan is going to be $50,000. That's what the application for funding will be for. Our matching component is unknown, as they have a litmus test based upon economic factors, some derivative of poverty level, LMI, some formula that when we had done this, the first time I ran through one of these was with Mr. McGowan about 5.5 years ago. It was a 50% match. I would assume that it's probably somewhere near there. We've got $25,000 budgeted in city funds. If we get $25,000 in this, we've reached out to Consensus Planning that created our last comprehensive plan. In their terms, 5 years is outdated. You have to have an updated plan every 5 years. Ours is 16 years old, but still a pretty relevant document. So we've engaged with Jackie Fishman of Consensus Planning if they'd be interested in doing the update. A lot of the background work is the same. There's obviously some things that have changed, and they've submitted a proposal to us, which we haven't put on the agenda because we'd like to secure the funding first to know we have it. The process is now an online enable system that they're running, and I anticipate that we will be funded. Typically, planning grants are allowed $50,000 a year up to $100,000 over 2 years. So we would still have money in the bank to do an economic development plan, a PER, something of that nature. But I anticipate we'd be successful. From what I've been told, funding is still available in this cycle. Obviously, the one caveat is before you can have any of those other plans, you first have to have a planning grant for a comprehensive plan. So it's something that we've known we've needed. It's applicable in some of your planning purposes, but it hurts you to not have one. Like our most recent CDBG application, there's I think 3 points out there for a comprehensive plan that we weren't eligible for because we didn't have an updated plan. So it makes sense. It'll be a lengthy process to hold a number of public hearings, but first step in the process is this resolution. We'll fine tune the application, probably submit it within the next week or so. Hopefully hear back within about the next 3 if we got it, and then come back probably with a proposal from Consensus Planning for the services to move forward. Free to answer any questions if y'all have it.
Any questions? No. Thanks, Jason.
Thank you.
Entertain a motion.
So moved. Motion to approve?
Second?
We have a motion and a second to approve Resolution 2019-51, authorizing and approving the application for financial assistance for our planning grant. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, vote by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. And item F, City Manager's Report. Mr. Berry.
Mayor and Commission, it's been a while since we talked about this item, the pavement improvements to Hart Avenue and Brilliant Street. That's related to the replacement of the water line on those two streets. last year by Raton Waterworks. And since that project, the streets have been in very rough shape, and we have limped through patching them repeatedly. But the contractor, Northern Mountain, is on site today. We think the construction time is really through the month of September. We would hope to complete this around the 1st of October. The thing I would advise the public on is we can anticipate lane closures and closures of section of the road during this 3 or 4 weeks that the construction will be taking place. And so we'll try to work with the contractor and school bus and people coming and going, but it's going to be a little messy out there during that time. So construction is going. We think it's going to come out to be a really nice project, and it's something that we've talked about for a while. There's been some frustration with residents out there because of the poor condition of the streets, but come October we hope that it's one of our best streets. Mayor and Commission, I have posted a job announcement for the position of Economic Development Director. I placed a date. We will accept applications up until the end of the day on October 1st. And then following that, we'll have a process of evaluating applications and seeing what kind of response that we get to that, and I'll report back to you on that. But that process has commenced. I have been spent a little time working with Raton Waterworks and Mr. Campbell on an agreement for engineering services. This is for the proposed Lake Maloya Spillway feasibility analysis, which is proposed to evaluate spillway improvements. So we have been working with the State Engineer's Office, Dam Safety Bureau, on this project for several months. The proposed services would consist of collection of geotechnical and seismic data on the dam and the left abutment, and then recommendations on improvements to the spillway. And as you remember from our previous evaluations, spillway capacity is one of the issues on the dam, as well as having a spillway located on the embankment is probably not something you would design for today. So we'll look at those issues. A couple of instances of travel scheduled. I will be in Albuquerque on September 17th along with the mayor. We had planned on attending an event for the advocacy of Southwest Chief. This event is led by Albuquerque Mayor Tim Keller, and the work on keeping the Southwest Chief running through Raton is going to be an ongoing effort, and there's again some efforts to do something different with the Southwest Chief, so we will put in a good word for it at that meeting. And then I plan to travel on Monday, September 23rd. The Community Development Council will be having application hearings for CDBG applications. That's also in Albuquerque. And I will be present to discuss the Raton application for CDBG funds. And then we hope to hear a result on that in October. That's all I have, Mayor.
All righty, thank you, sir.
I'll be at that Southwest Chief. Yeah, I told you I'll be there.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yep.
The three of us.
Okay. All right. Any other comments? Commissioner Chatterley? Commissioner Giacomo?
None.
Commissioner Chavez?
Nothing, sir.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Oh, thank you very much.
Don't have anything either, other than we had a pretty good time in Las Cruces. It was hot,
It was very
but
good.
a lot of good things happened.
Which made for a cold convention center.
Yes, it did. Seeing no other business, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.